Hi guys, it's Steve-O. I hope everything's going well with you, that you're taking care of yourselves and the ones that you love. If you girls chance upon this video, I love you. It's raining, I hope it doesn't get up on the lens that much. I was eager to do this and I'm not waiting. So I'm going to talk a little bit about apologetics for dummies because I'm a dummy, but this is more about apologetics for other dummies. First and foremost, a couple disclaimers. This is not going to be information to be used in a religious context, meaning not debating with other Christians, with Muslims. Again, the context being I lived the majority of my life away from God. Now, what I learned about Christianity specifically was antagonistic, to debunk, to confront, to be combative towards Christianity, to debunk it, to disprove it, all of these things. So I'm going to be approaching a lot of my arguments, not to say to the person wondering about God or questioning. This is to that person who will look at you right in the face, like I would, and say, God does not exist. There are no gods. There's nothing you can do to prove anything to me. You know, I talk about atheists like Dillahunty, Ra, whatever his name is, other ones. There's the two Hitchisons, one's actually a Christian, one's not, but the atheist one, they have this thing about, you know, there's nothing you could do to prove God to me. And, you know, I get that. I'm not even talking to them, but I'm talking about the people who want to be, again, combative and say something like this. If you can prove to me something simple like, how can you rationalize or excuse God for killing all of the Canaanites? And again, I'm not very smart. I am Polish. I was in the Marine Corps. So that's right there, like 5 things against me that are not, you know, good about math and numbers. But I can do basic math. So I was thinking about this from that perspective. Like, I believe that I can, again, I don't want to say prove God exists. I'm not going to say anything like that, but I'm going to say, if you can look at the Bible through the lens of it being a guide towards life, and if you remove all the theology, God, Jesus aspect out of it, Holy Spirit, remove that, and just follow what the Bible says, it'll still work for you. And this is kind of a prime example of that. Now, again, I'm not the smartest guy, but I do have a piece of chalk that my daughter's left out here that's all beat up and all that, so. But I'm going to, for this exercise, say that you have Group A and Group B. And before I actually go into this, no, I'm not going to go into that. I may come back to it later. But, so you have Group A and Group B. We're just going to say, for simplicity's sake, that there's 50,000 people in each group, okay? Now, again, one day you have God come and say, hey, Group A, kill Group B. And now, some apologists will go the route of, well, they didn't mean this, and they didn't, and God says this, but if you look at what they did, let's pretend. I'm going to cede that point to you. I'm going to grant the point. God said wipe out man, woman, child. And they went there and wiped out every 50,000 person, man, woman, child there. There's nothing left. Okay? So I'm going to grant you that premise. That they did what you people call unthinkable, which is war. War is awful. Avoid war. But when you go to war, things happen. So, in one scenario, okay? Scenario A. Group A has a 10,000, 50,000 people. Let me switch that back on so I can make sure I'm seeing things. 50,000 people, each have a 10,000 unit army at this point, okay? Group A goes, kills the 10,000 people, and so now you have the 50,000 people left, so 60,000, okay? That wouldn't be right because I'm gonna keep it simpler. We'll say the 50,000 is it, the 10,000 are derived from them. So we have 50,000 people. All of them are killed, okay? So 50,000, and then we're gonna say in the battle itself, Group A lost, we'll say 2,000 members. So you have the 50,000 and 2. So now with my math here, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope this will come up good on the camera, let me see where that is. Nope, chalk is breaking. 5, that's a 5, that's a 2, 0, 0, 0. Well, so 52,000 people, the 50,000, and I'll probably do some cool graphics up here. That'll make it look a little cooler. But this is more for my own rememberings, as Ricky would say. So scenario A, Group A wiped out, 52,000 dead. Now I'm going to say what most people think we should do. And again, this is to me cruelty, prolonging conflict, and unnecessary. War is awful, which is why you want it to either not happen or be done as soon as you can. So what you people think is Group A and Group B, 50,000, 50,000, 10,000, 10,000, okay? They disagree on something. They should fight and then try to make peace. So what happens is, we'll say Group A, again, they clash in this first battle. We're gonna say that Group A loses, again, 2,000. Group B loses, we'll say 4,000. And then they call for peace, okay? So that's 6,000. Let me see where, go over this a little more. 6,000. Now this is what I wanted to talk about. This is kind of a tangent, but in my opinion is very important in this. And I use it for the relevance of specifically Israel and Palestine today. My position on Israel and Palestine is Christianity is the answer. I often say that we use history as a reason to beat each other up, to cudgel each other, to shame each other instead of learning the lesson. So in that situation, and in many situations, and this is like this all throughout the world today, you have a group that says, okay, I'm Group A, you killed my father, so now I have to go and kill you. But you're gonna say, well, we only killed your father because you killed my uncle and my brother. Well, yeah, we only killed your uncle and your brother though because you destroyed our temple, took over our city, and killed my mom. But yeah, then we only did that because that was our temple, and we only did that because you killed our, and again, so when you go back, it's always, well, you did what you did. And Christianity teaches to stop that, to turn the other cheek. So, that aside, sorry, I think I just saw a toad jump. Now, that conflict is over. But, you killed my uncle and my brother died in war fighting you guys. So I'm not gonna take that. And now we're gonna say 5x years later, whatever, let's just say X years later, we're back at it and we're not gonna take it. We're gonna, in fact, let's say this whole thing started over because you have A and B and there's water in the middle, okay? And obviously the only way for me and them to solve it is to kill each other because that's the way humans have worked for a long time. So now they're back up in B and the water or something, but you killed my uncle and my brother, whatever it was, so I'm gonna go and now we're gonna fight country A again. Now, again, 50,000 and 50,000 for simplicity's sake. And now you have another conflict with 10,000, and we'll say in this one, only, we'll say 3,000 and 3,000 from each side died, another 6. Okay? But because no one won, everything is still out in limbo. But I don't know if you know this, I killed your father in that battle. So now you obviously have to get revenge back. And the water, there's the water, we got obviously, the water. And you have a new God now that we don't like, and we have our God, so we're gonna kill each other again, okay? Now in this one, country B, they did it. They won the water. In this one, we're gonna say country B lost, we'll say 3,000, but country A lost 6, so that's 9,000. Now, I hope you can see where this is going. I'm not the smartest guy, okay? But I'm going to assume, because we want to be peaceful and loving and not cause 50,000 people to die, that we're not ever going to wipe each other out. We're always going to win and then sue for peace. So then another war happened, and we'll say only 5,000 people died as my chalk breaks. That was not a bad war, only 5,000 people died. So right there, 14, 20, that's 26,000 people dead in 4 conflicts and 52 in 1. Now again, what I'm trying to say is, they killed my uncle, so now I have to go back and kill them. And the water, we need the water too, I forgot about that. So yeah, we're gonna go and do this again. And again, luckily in this one, Group A one, and now things are back to normal. They're not under the yoke of the awful Group B any longer. But in this one, we're going to say, we'll say 2,000 of A died, and we'll say in this one, was horrible, 5,000 died from Group B, so that's 7,000 dead. This is going to continue. And what's going to happen, again, I'm not the smartest guy. I did my math for Marines, MCI though. So I can figure out that, and when I keep doing this, it's gonna add up to more than that. For peace, for love, for tolerance, to make sure we don't wanna be mean and cause a bunch of excess bloodshed. Nope, we wanna do this. That doesn't make sense to me. Now I wanna stop and do a hard pause here because if you're talking with someone who's mildly theological, they may say, well, what does this have to do with anything? Now, or if the other person says, well, what does this have to do with God? If I'm going to grant the premise that, again, God said, wipe them all out, and they did, grant the premise that if we're saying there is this God telling people to do things, he knows everything, he's all powerful, okay? What I mean by that is, he can do this math. He can see this before we do. Meaning, again, God's like, all right, I know everything. I can see the way this is going to work out. If I do it that way, 52,000 people die once and we're done. Or we can do it this way for peace and have people die perpetually, continuing a cycle, creating more generational trauma where more children, kids hate the people who did the thing to their thing. And these people hate all the people over there who killed their this and that and destroyed the this and tormented that. All that generational trauma. But do you know how much generational trauma is after this? 0. Brutal, awful way to look at it. But if God knows this and can see that ahead of time, I would say, in my opinion, it's more moral for God to have me wipe out these people one time than for me to go and fight a war against you so that your children will hate me and that my children will hate you and then their grandchildren will hate you and me and create all this chaos. Again, this to me is not the answer. It may be to you. But again, if you would have presented this to me as that arrogant, egotistical person full of hubris who knew everything better than anyone, I can't lie about these numbers. There's no way I can sit there and say, well, once you do this to the 10th time, we'll say, if we have 6,000 people on average in 10 battles, that's 60,000 people, which is more than this. I can do math. I'm not smart, but 60,000 dead is more than 52,000 dead. One time, one battle over generations and generations and trauma for people. Again, repeated battles and pillaging, rape, murders, burning down, rebuilding, taking, stealing, or this. Now again, I'm not using this as a proof to say that God exists, but what I'm talking about is morality in the Bible, and if you can take a step back, and again, maybe view the world through someone like me, it can be fascinating. Again, I'm not going to go through I will just mention, one of the apologetic arguments I hear very often is that, and I think these are valid, I want to be very clear, I'm not dismissing these, I'm just saying to someone who does not care, like again, if you would have made these arguments to me years ago, I would have said I don't care. But if you would have made these arguments to me, I can do math. But some of the arguments are, that it's rhetoric language, meaning it's like when I say I'm going to go home and just beat my daughters bloody. I'm not. I'm going to go and ground them. When I say, oh my gosh, the Red Wings absolutely killed the Avalanche. They didn't. They didn't kill anybody. They beat them in a game. And so when they say we went there and you go out there and you wipe out everybody to get them into the mentality of having to murder people, that's what war is. You take the humanity out of people. The other flip side of that is, so again, if you take that further, I'm going to use my own words here. But in essence, they would say, go there, decimate, kill all those people. Don't marry them, don't do business with them. But wait, if I kill them, I can't do business with them and I can't marry them. So the implication is, look, we go out there, we kick their butts really bad. Now that that's done, now to have nothing to do with them, because if you marry them and deal with them, you're going to be influenced by them, I feel like. There's a deer or something walking. So again, I think those arguments are valid, but that's not the argument I'm making. I'm making a simple mathematical argument for when people can ask, why would God command a complete not decimation, because that's a tenth. Again, I want to be very clear here. Complete annihilation of a people. Man, woman, children. Do the math. I hope everything is going well with you, that you're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. I hope this helped someone in some way, and if it didn't, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go easy and go with God.